Well, it's a very warm welcome and thank you for joining us on this independent off-tube studio commentary. Our referee Peter Banks is just about ready to get things underway here at the Vitality Stadium, a sunny Vitality Stadium no less, for this South Coast derby of sorts. I mean, they are quite far apart on the South Coast, but Bournemouth taking on Brighton and Hove Albion, and we are underway now in this game. It's a game which I think both teams would fancy winning. Bournemouth, a decent start to the season, 2 wins and 1 defeat. Brighton started off a little bit slowly with a couple of poor performances, but then made up for that with an excellent performance before the international break, beating Manchester City at home. So everything's set for a good game this afternoon. It's myself, Paul Szczerbakowicz, and John Hogan taking you through the action. John, we were saying before we came on air that this should be quite an open one with some decent play.
Yeah, weirdly, the two teams I always sort of underestimate, they're a bit of a coming together, Inchwood and Evan Nielsen, but they'll be all right. Yeah, I mean, why can't we have a smashing game here? Both teams want to go about it the right way. We know for Hertzler that they hold a high line, so they want to compress play, they want to get forward, they want to attack. He trod right in his hand then, didn't he, Inchwood? And how he's come off second best in that, I don't know. But
no, I mean, as I say, we've literally had about 10 seconds of play, and now we've had 40 seconds of stoppages. Whilst Jack Hinshelwood is being checked over. It looks like Evan Nielsen's the one who's going to come off okay out of that. And he falls, and then it's weird because Evan Nielsen gets his hand trodden on completely accidentally by Hinshelwood, but it seems that treading on his hand, at the same second when Hinshelwood treads on Evan Nielsen's hand on the deck, it seems like he rolls his ankle in his boot, and that's what's causing him problems now.
Yeah, when you're coming down on terra firma, you want a nice steady base, and his ankle gave... because he's on the hand. I'm not sure I'd want to be in the circumstances, because I bet Evan Nielsen's hand is absolutely throbbing. But the thing is, they can always bandage that up, and he goes again unless he's broken bones in his hand. If he's done knee or ankle ligaments, and I think they're looking at his ankle, then he's in big trouble. But that would be a shame. Jack Inchwood's such a good player, and goes box to box. He does that thing, he goes in like an extra attacker at times, loads of energy. He could cover the full-back roles as well. He looks a bit crestfallen though. They don't look happy.
He does, he does. And the body language of the one of the assistants on the touchline speaking to Fabian Hertzler, he immediately looked down his sort of down the touchline to see which one of his players is warming up. I mean, I'll run you through very quickly. Ayari, Baliba, Boskagli, Coppola, Gruder, Kaidoglu, Tsimas, Watson, and goalkeeper Steele are the substitutes for Brighton this afternoon.
Well, surely it's going to be Carlos Baleba.
Yeah, I mean, it certainly would be. If it's not Baleba, it may be Coppola as well. He's played in that whole... Ayari can play in the centre mid as well. And it looks like it is going to be Yassine Ayari, the young Swede, who's going to come on.
Wow, that's incredible. There must be something wrong with Baleba. Don't get me wrong, Ayari's a good player, but... all that stuff about him, and
the only thing I can assume is that Baleba has just come back from a long trip. He played for Cameroon in the game against Cape Verde, and that was only on the 9th. That was only in midweek. It's a long old journey to get back to the UK, so it may well be that he's not trained. That might have something to do with it.
I'm sure you're right. Rather than the qualities that he possesses, because he's great, isn't he?
Yeah, well, this is a first for me. I don't think I've ever had a game where I've been doing commentary, and we do a sort of intro in the first minute or so, and then when the ball goes dead, I like to just remind our listeners of the 2 starting 11s. Well, for the first time ever, I'm going to be doing that with one of the starting 11 already off the field, because he's got injured inside the first 30 seconds. So I say it's nothing to laugh about from Hinshelwood's point of view, but it's certainly an unusual situation to get an injury so quickly. But very quickly, the Bournemouth 11 is Dorda Petrovic in goal. Then it's a back four of James Hill, Veljko and Milos Slavejevic, Marcos Senesi and Ardian Truffert. Then it's 2 holder midfielders, Tyler Adams and Alex Scott. The 3 ahead of them, David Brooks, Marcus Tavernier and Antoine Semenyo, with Evan Nielsen as the front man. And for Brighton, already a change is Bart Verbruggen in goal, back four of Joel Veltman, Jan-Paul van Hecke, Lewis Dunk and Maxim de Kuiper. The 2 holder midfielders are now James Milner and Yassine Ayari, who comes on for the injured Jack Hinshelwood. The 3 ahead of them, Yakuba Minte, Jorginho Ruter and Kaoru Mitoma, with Danny Welbeck as the front man.
Yeah, a couple of things then there. We see players get injured in the warm-up, don't we? So the fact that the sort of early changes is no big surprise, but it's such a rotten bit of luck for Hinshelwood, isn't it? So unfortunate, and I say unfortunately, he stepped on Evan Nielsen's hand, and obviously it's accidental.
Yeah.
And Evan Nilsson, we think he's all right. I mean,
there's been no focus on the camera. Doesn't focus on Evan Nilsson at all. He went off the field very briefly, then came back on. So just goes to show that. On the face of it, you would have thought that Hinshelwood treading on Evan Nilsson's hand would cause Evan Nilsson more problems, but it's actually Evan Nilsson's hand that's caused Hinshelwood's foot to not have an even landing, and that's what's caused his ankle to roll, it would appear. But it's Brighton now trying to get forwarded down the right hand side. Lovely little turn there from Ruter as well to get into a bit of space. He tries to force a crossing down the right hand side. All he can do is knock that ball off for I was going to say for a corner kick, but
I thought he got a corner.
Yeah,
there.
I was sure that he had, but the linesman's very close to it. And he's obviously decided that the ball's deflected back off Ruter, having got the initial deflection off Truffert. So it's going to be a goal kick to Brighton. Then we'll see from this angle whether or not there was an argument for a corner. It's lovely skill from Ruter in the first place.
Yeah, two Frenchmen coming together there. It came right for his toe end, didn't it, Truffert? So it should have been a corner kick.
I mean, I'm not really sure where the linesman has seen that double kiss to think that it might not have been, unless he's not even seen the bounce off Truffert at all. But that's a bit of a poor decision if that's the case. A long clearance from Petrovic up towards the halfway line, but Brighton have the ball back straight away here on the right hand side now with Veltman. Ooh, that's not a good ball from Mince, though. He was off balance when he tried to play that. David Brooks has just signed a new deal with Bournemouth. He plays a nice little 1-2 with Evan Nilsson. He carries on his run straight down the middle. He gets stopped by quite an industrious challenge there from De Kuyper, but a fair one, says referee Peter Banks, and it's now Brighton in possession down the left here with Mitoma. He goes through the gears there. There's Mitoma getting towards the edge of the area, being well marshalled though by James Hill, and eventually the ball is played in towards the penalty area for the on-rushing Maxim De Kuyper. He really got forward there, the left back, didn't he? But
they're raving about him. They're raving about him, and quite right. He started the game so brightly. So far, I mean, maybe I was unlucky, but I did a London derby, Charlton against Millwall, and it was truly terrible. Already, the standard in this game is absolutely astonishing. It's exciting to watch Mitoma going at full pace. He's really going to take James Hill on today, and he looks like he's got the beating of him already. So that's going to be a matchup I'm interested in. As Evan Nilsson picks the ball up.
Evan Nilsson does pick the ball up just at the edge of the area. It's past to Semenyo, a little bit under hit, but Semenyo still able to make the best of it. He plays it square to Tavernier, who then tries to switch it over towards the left-hand side. It's a good ball as well to pick out David Brooks. He's got options ahead of him, but Brooks now trying to get past Veltman, and the ball at the edge of the area. Scott now going back towards Senesi. Senesi's cross into the box is charged down by Ruter, who charges after that one himself. That's easy covering though for Tyler Adams, able to play it back towards his own goalkeeper.
I was saying before kick-off there, I thought what would be a shoe-in today is that James Milner gets booked. I love the fact that Millie's still about, and as you pointed out, he'd scored a penalty fairly recently. He brings a lot to the game, but he's very competitive. He works hard, and he's not getting any quicker, is he? So I expect him to be lumbering in a little bit. And we were talking about Will Hughes, who could be on his way to a Premier League record today if he gets booked for Palace. That would be 5 straight yellow cards in the first 5 games if he does it. So I'm keeping an eye on that.
Absolutely. My little fun fact about Will Hughes is that he went to the same boarding school as Jeremy Clarkson. So he's got certainly got posh roots as Will Hughes, but very much a physical sort of central midfielder. And we'll be keeping an eye out on him this afternoon. Goalless, by the way, in all the Premier League games early on. And if you weren't aware, Arsenal beat Nottingham Forest under Ange Postecoglou. Now Forest by 3-0. Never really in doubt that game. Arsenal pretty much in control from start to finish.
Now, I was interested in that game because Ange Postecoglou holds a high line, and the pass manager Nuno, they couldn't defend any deeper. So has he started with a high line, or
they were playing with a higher line? I mean, it was difficult to tell because Arsenal had so much of the ball that Forest were just having to sort of crowd round and try and keep Arsenal quiet. But they had their moments as well. I mean, it took a real bit of class from Zubamendi to even give Arsenal the lead after 32 minutes. But then Arsenal doubled their lead inside the first 90 seconds of the second half, and once it was 2-0. So early on in the second, Forest sort of their heads dropped a bit, and then the game went a little bit flat. But they say you're not going to judge Postecoglou on Arsenal away. It's not really a fair yardstick. It's the next few games where Forest are going to earn their stripes, of course, and they're starting their European campaign in midweek as well. I
just wonder if Arsenal got that last piece of the jigsaw then in Gyökeres that is going to get them over the line this season. I don't know. I think they're as good a chance as any.
I think they do, absolutely. When you see that Liverpool is having to go for a bit of a defensive rebuild, City look a little bit off it. Chelsea sort of there or thereabouts, but there's certainly scope, I think, for Arsenal to be. They're always one of the favourites, aren't they? But certainly, potentially even more so this season. But back to action here at the Vitality, coming up to 10 minutes gone. Just a little bit of midfield sort of cancelling each other out right now. But that's just, as I say, that Minteh gets charged into by Alex Scott, so that will be a free kick to Brighton. In fact, it was Truffet just coming in on that left-hand side. Free kick to Brighton right on the halfway line. Early on in this game, John, but it seems like the visitors are wanting to control the ball that little bit more.
Yeah, like we said, they tend to push up a bit, don't they? But just playing a little bit of keep ball right now. Milner there looking for a pass. He's just sat in front of the back four picking it up, and that means that they're playing just a shade deeper than they normally would. We saw Hertzler's team hurt last season about this time, but just centre backs at the halfway line and just getting beaten by teams with pace. Now, the one thing we do know about Bournemouth is that Semenyo and Brooks are just going to run through you if you have that high line. So Brighton are playing slightly differently, I think, than they normally would.
Well, here come Bournemouth. A nice little bit of link-up player on the left between Brooks and Truffet. Truffet getting all the way to the byline. That's a good challenge, an excellent challenge from James Milner. And puts that ball out, avoiding the corner kick. It's just going to be a throw-on to Bournemouth down the left-hand side.
Well, right-back's been a problem position for Brighton for such a long time. Milner's covered that for Leeds and Liverpool and all sorts of teams he's played.
I think he might have played there for City as well, I think.
I would reckon so. So, he's used to covering it. Like I said, he's not getting any quicker, but it was a good challenge, that. Just strong. He was through his man, but certainly enough for the ball there.
Well, it's going to be a throw to Bournemouth, which could be as good as a corner with this long launch here from Semenyo. It's gone all the way to the edge of the 6-yard box. It's headed clear and all the way back towards the halfway line. Truffet is the last one back for Bournemouth. He hooks it back up in the air, goes over the head of Rutter, but then he manages to get it back. It was just a moment there with a Bournemouth player lost the ball in the eye. I think it was Tavernier, couldn't quite see it, and then he's trying to get it back. Combination of him and Miloslavljevic, I think I'm getting that right, is going to give a free kick to Bournemouth to Brighton.
That's incredible from Rutter. He's under loads of pressure there, and he just dribbles away from 2 or 3 would-be challengers. Then he got the quick free kick, and then he just plants it out to left hand. It was a perfect ball, but the referee wasn't ready for it.
Well, he's getting a run in the team now, Rutter, because I think that he's probably been maybe a 6.5 out of 10 since he's gone to Brighton. He's had some decent performances, but I think with some of the performances he put in at Leeds, I think they probably expected a little bit more from him in that sort of attacking role. But I think he's pretty much starting every game this season, so it looks like Hertzler does want him to push on.
They like him, and he's still only young, but he's got an immense amount of quality. He's hard to get off the ball. He's like an X factor. He's got stuff. Poor challenge that from Tavernier. Could even be a yellow.
He's going to get booked soon. The referee's already had a word. In fact, he had a word with the referee when a free kick was given against him, just for that challenge on Rutter that you were talking about. And then 60 seconds later, he comes in a long way. He's never going to get there before Veltman. He should have just stopped his run, but he couldn't. He trips Joel Veltman. It's an easy decision that for the referee to give a free kick, and as I say, he's not going to get booked yet, but he's getting close to one, I think, as Brighton take the free kick quickly. It's then Minteh with the ball into the box. It's a little bit too low. It's only hooked up in the air. It's a bouncing ball, but in the end, Petrovic comes out and just calms things down for Bournemouth.
Yeah, sun shining in Bournemouth, and a bit out the front there. That big promenade they've got, it's a lovely day to be just walking along the beach.
Yeah, probably about another month of it before it gets too cold and windy. Yeah.
It's just probably 2 or 3 degrees warmer down there than we've got up here. But anyway, beautiful day. Fans on the far side have got that little bit of shade as well, but this near side, full sun as Brooks picks the ball up.
He does, and he does well to get that ball away from Veltman, and it's an early cross in from the left-hand side. It was the right idea. It's just a little bit too close to the goalkeeper. But I don't mind that too much. I think it was Tavernier coming in. It was Tavernier from the left-hand side. He saw the loose ball, and it was the right idea to get it into the box, just a bit too close in the end to Verbruggen.
I tell you what, David Brooks in the form of his life, I think. He's had problems and all that, which he's overcome now, and just great to see him just settling into his football career and actually kicking on.
He is, yeah. I mean, he's just signed a new deal in the last week. He's very much a regular starter for his country as well. I know that Craig Bellamy's very much a fan of him. It's hard not to be really with Brooks, because he's got all the natural skill of your sort of classic left winger. He's got a decent shot on him as well. And as you said, for somebody so young to have gone through the health problems that he's had and come out the other side and still be a top-level professional sportsman really is fantastic. But here comes Ruter, and he does really well to get away from 2 challenges. And he's now trying to square that ball in towards Welbeck. Just too many Bournemouth bodies in the way. But already early on we can see that if Brighton are going to cause problems today, it's probably going to be going through Ruter. And I'll get your thoughts on that in a second, because Brooks has just given the ball away and Veltman now's charging towards the edge of the area. It takes a last-ditch challenge there at the edge of the box from Alex Scott, and I think he gets the luck of the deflection of Veltman, although Veltman is swearing it should be a corner, but it's just been given as a goal kick.
Yeah, really good play by Veltman. He just read play really well. It's like, I think that ball might break to me, and if I crack on, then we could get something going. Getting back to Ruter, he's having a tremendous game. Alex Scott coming across there, he's having to modify his game to play in this Bournemouth side. He naturally is an attacking midfielder, but I think he's coming up against, both for England under-21s and in the Premier League, he's now rubbing shoulders with players who are absolutely brilliant, and he's finding he's playing a little bit deeper than perhaps he would like, but he's got bags of talent as well. I thought it's a question of time before he kicks on and gets in the full England team as well, but it might be in a deeper role.
Well, it's just a case, as I say, there's competition though, isn't there, in terms of central midfield for England. And so we're going to get another injury stoppage here, I think. De Kuyper was really charging down that left-hand side for Brighton, desperate to try and keep that ball in play or to try and force a corner. What he's actually done is run into those advertising boards, and they're I said they've always been they've always been hard, either made out of plastic or wood. But now, of course, they've got all these digital displays and LED lights on them and stuff, and that's going to be painful for De Kuyper, that one.
Yeah, exactly. Just got shouldered there.
Yeah, he did a little bit. Yeah, and Semenyo didn't want to actually cause him any harm. He just wanted to make sure that the ball was going out for a goal kick. But in doing that, bit of a shoulder whilst De Kuyper's at full speed as well.
I think it's a bit naughty, that, really, from Semenyo.
Yeah, it's also not great. There's a couple of elderly supporters from Bournemouth behind that end of the pitch who were genuinely cheering when they saw De Kuyper crashing into the advertising boards.
Yeah, he's broken. I tell you what, just looking at the bench for Bournemouth today, and Clivert on the bench. I mean, last season he was awesome, and again, you just think, maybe Ruter's winning his battle with him, play a similar position. But anyway, just thoughts about that. But anyway, Bournemouth back on the ball on the front foot.
Oh, it's a long ball now played towards the edge of the area. It's headed up in the air, just about kept alive here though by Semenyo. He needs some support. He finds Alex Scott. Scott goes for goal! Oh, it's a fantastic strike. Well, there's the reverse of the commentator's curse. My colleague was in the last 2 minutes talking about the fact that Alex Scott would be pushing for an England place. Well, if he does things like that, John, he's going to be closer to one.
Well, I tell you what, he showed real quality at Bristol City, and I just thought, he's going to play Premier League and he's going to kick on, and he didn't. And then he'd really struggled to hold down a first-team place. I thought he did really well, England under-21s in the summer, and of course they won. But that is just absolute quality. And that, you're talking about Premier League, and we're talking about the players that he's keeping out of the team. But it's a great strike, that.
Oh, it is. I mean, I think what he's done really well here is initially the ball's played towards the edge of the area. Semenyo needs a lot of credit because it's lovely control to take that ball out of the sky. But then I love the way that Alex Scott, he knows what he wants to do. Even as soon as this ball reaches him and he's got his back to goal, he knows what he wants. He's pointing Semenyo, give me this ball. He turns and he uses the big defender there, Van Hecker, just behind him as a bit of a shield. And that means that it doesn't see it until very late there, Verbruggen. But it's a really powerful and really precise strike there with the left foot.
I tell you what, he's got number 8 on his back. That's a proper number 9 goal, isn't it? You get it. It's like a Shearer goal. That he knows exactly what he wants. You're going to turn on it, strike it in. I think he hits it through legs as well. It's just a really good strike, and I've got to say that I think the keeper guessed going the right way. He'd anticipated what he was going to do, but the shot's so fierce he just couldn't stop it.
It was. I mean, to say it's against the run of play would be too much, but I suppose we would have to say that Brighton have made the better start in this game. But now it's Bournemouth who take the lead, and we'll see how the visitors respond, because it's been a difficult start to the season for Brighton. We're taking that Man City result out of the equation. They've had some poor performance as well. They didn't do too well away to Everton, but another ball coming into the box now as Brighton have got to be very careful. Bournemouth are on the run here now down the left here with Truffet. His cross is way over here. I mean, it's It's at least dropping 10 yards away from anyone in a Bournemouth shirt, and that will just be guided out by Ruter for a throw. But all to do now for Brighton, having made the better start.
Yeah, it's right. That it came out of nothing, that, but both teams have got good players. Like I said, we were talking about Ruter making a good start, and like I said, keeping good players out, the likes of Gruder, I have said, But anyway, I would say that Bournemouth have got a stronger bench, and of course Brighton have had to go to their bench already for Ayari. Not exactly down to bare bones, but Bournemouth now, they've got the confidence of that goal, and they're playing up a little bit.
Yeah, they're
now.
kicking on again now. It's with Brooks. He couldn't quite find a way into the box. Plays it back to Tavernier, who goes back towards Senesi, and Milosavljevic on the right-hand side. The ball towards the penalty area is only partially dealt with. Tavernier now holds it up, and he finds space down the left here for Truffet. Truffet actually left it for Brooks. Brooks left it for Truffet. Between them, they just about managed to keep the ball alive, although they're having to go back towards the halfway line. Senesi now playing it square over towards the right-hand side. So just half a chance there for Scott to try and find Semenyo. Good work though from De Kuyper as Brighton need to get back on the attack again, but Bournemouth just seems to have a bit more of a spring in their step now. Scott coming across, dispossessing Ruter, and it is back in Cherry's possession now with Tyler Adams. Another good addition, I think, to that Bournemouth team. Solid defensive central midfielder. I'm sure he'll be pushing on to be one of his in his USA squad, of course, for the World Cup next summer. USA, one of 3 hosts for the tournament next year. And here come Bournemouth now down the left-hand side. Tavernier over towards Truffet on the left-hand side. He's got support from Brooks. Brooks drops his shoulder and gets towards the edge of the area. It's played into the box, but Van Hecke read that one well. He quickly gets underneath it and clears it towards the halfway line. But here come Bournemouth again. Senesi with an early ball down the left-hand side. Here is Truffet now putting a cross into the area. It's dealt with by Van Hecke. And now, it's also dealt with by Veltman. He almost lost the ball, but he's found Jakuba Minte. And Minte now playing it across the halfway line towards Ruter. Ruter has support from Mitoma down the left-hand side. That's a good ball to Mitoma. It's a good ball in from Mitoma as well. Just a yard behind, or a yard in front of Welbeck, I should say. There was the good covering there from Milosavljevic. And the ball now up towards the halfway line, where Bournemouth have just slowed things down. But it certainly seems that goal has just sort of knocked Brighton a little bit, but they need to remind themselves of how much attacking threat they have as well.
Yeah, one player we've not really mentioned much is Danny Welbeck, because they haven't been able to find him. It did look like a decent ball inside, didn't it, from Mitoma, but he couldn't quite find the number 18. Before that, again, Ruter linking up, doing good stuff in midfield. The ball just going to be picked up by Bart Verbruggen. Like I said, for the goal, I think you'd anticipate it was diving to his left. He just couldn't stop it. Too firm a strike from Scott. But it's just that one bit of individual brilliance that separates the two teams. And who's that down?
De Kuyper is going to be another enforced change. And it's worth remembering that you're allowed to have 5 subs in the Premier League. Well, in any league nowadays, but you have to make them in 3 blocks. Now, because Brighton have been forced to make a single change after 1 minute, and now they're going to have to make another single change after 23 minutes, that's going to put basically going to put them under a lot of pressure in terms of any changes they make in the second half. But Peter Banks, just having a quick word with Lewis Dunk there, the Brighton captain.
Well, that came about because he was shoved into the advertising ordinance. Like I said, I think it's a bit naughty from Semenyo.
No, it is, absolutely, yeah. I'm just trying to see, is that going to be Kaidoglu to come on and replace him? Or it might be
Ferdi Kaidoglu, number 24.
Yeah, it looks like it could be him, yeah. I mean, it's interesting. We made the point that Balibas not starting today because potentially he's been on international duty. Just worth pointing out that in that same international break, Kaoru Mitoma played twice. He played against the USA and against Mexico for Japan, whereas it's only been one game for Balibas, so it might be that there's still a little bit of a fallout from potential, because he did want to transfer away in August, didn't he? There may be a little bit of a fallout from that as well, but
possibly. But why have him on the bench then?
No, that's true. I mean, as I say, he's either in the team altogether or he's out the team altogether.
I mean, you could forgive him for having his head turned a little bit, but then the other thing you think is who really could afford him? I think they put a price tag on him that was unbelievable.
They can do at Brighton, as I say, but maybe Chelsea aren't giving them all their money anymore. But confirmation now the change is coming in, and it is Maxim De Kuyper going off. I just want to make sure it definitely is. It is Ferdi Kaidoglu coming on to replace him, and as Kaidoglu finds his spot on that left-hand side. We're over the half. We're actually coming up to 24 minutes in this game, but there's going to be at least 2 or 3 minutes of added time for all these injuries. So it is Bournemouth 1, Brighton and Hove Albion 0, and it will be John to take us through to half-time.
Well, when I first saw Karagioglu, I just thought, oh, he's superb, you know, and then the next thing, it's like, oh, he's got a foot injury. Well, that won't keep him out long. Virtually a season, wasn't it? So he's looking to, if you'll pardon the pun, reboot, as now he's faced up by Semenyo. Semenyo looked like he flicked the ball off the Turkish international, and it will go out for a throw. Slow start for Bournemouth, but growing into the game, they got the confidence of the goal, and that came from Alex Scott. Brilliant turn at the edge of the box, just thumped it in. He's a big lad, and clearly a hell of a strike on him. When he was playing Bristol City, he was almost like he was playing number 10, you know, pulling the strings, you know, virtually everything, and an attacking midfielder at that. As the ball comes in, it's headed away, but not being cleared. The shot comes in by Brooks, and eventually they're scrambling the ball clear. They thought they'd clear their lines there with Van Ecke, but the ball came back. Here, True Fair launched it into the box again, headed back, but it came by Karagioglu. It's not being cleared this time. Order the big boot.
Yeah, that was a proper clearance there, old school clearance there from Lewis Dunk. A couple of Bournemouth players had their arms up appealing for a handball after that initial strike from Brooks. I don't know if that was just a sort of a knee-jerk reaction, if they actually generally thought about, here come True Fair now down the left-hand side. Yeah,
he does. He's got a lot of ground to run into, measures his ball into the box, and the effort goes looping over the top from Evan Nielsen. Well, I'll tell you what, you know, Brighton have been undone by having problems at right back for ages now. Who did they usually have there? Mats FIFA or something? He's been coming across it.
Well, Veltman's been there the longest out of all of them, but as you say, he's probably not the best solution. He's not as quick as you need to be in that position, especially these days where, you know, you've got the pacey sort of wingers cutting in onto their preferred foot, getting balls in. So as you said, they've tried it with Vafer. Hinshelwood's played there on the odd occasion as well.
Yeah.
So it's interesting that for all the centre mids and things that Brighton are able to find, they haven't really been able to sort of crack that right back position yet.
No, it's weird that they just haven't bought one. But anyway,
they don't always get it right. I mean, famously, people say for all the great transfer activity Brighton have done, one that did get away and wasn't rated by them at all was Gyökeres.
Yeah. Well, there we go. But sometimes players don't play that well, and you know, off they go.
Just different manager, different system, and all of a sudden, and at the same time, of course, particularly when they're young, they can mature, they can learn a bit more about the game, and before you know it, within a year or two, they can look like different players.
Yeah, well, you know, a manager called Jose Mourinho has had his successes, but he famously had Mohamed Salah and had to have him chasing back for Chelsea, didn't he? And
he got rid of De Bruyne as well, didn't he?
Yeah, so there it goes. And maybe they just weren't ready at that point, but anyway, ball all the way back to Verbruggen, and he launches it into the afternoon sun. Ball picked up by Rutter, but he runs into a challenge there.
Just on that point as well, I always remember this story years and years ago when I was at school. My old PE teacher used to be a football coach to coach Les Ferdinand, and he admitted that he didn't recognise Ferdinand as a striker and put him in goal. So that's that just goes to show that at any level you can get coaches that don't quite understand what they've got with them.
I bet he was a good goalie.
Well, he would have been. He was a natural sportsman, wasn't he, from a young age? But it just shows you that it's interesting that PE teacher was actually sort of proud of the fact that he put a future England striker in goal when he was about 11 years old as well.
Yeah, skills. Anyway, and he undoubtedly wasn't a Premier League coach, was he? Right, anyway, Minter rolls the ball forward. It's not going to reach Mitoma, and that ball would be just cushioned back. Famously as well, while we're banging on about while the goalkeeper's got the ball at his feet, Cantona was at Sheffield Wednesday when he first came up from France, and the weather was bad. So they were going to even contact and say, well, we haven't seen him play on grass. So and Leeds got wind of this. Said, well, we'll have you anyway, regardless of grass or not. And that was that. So the fact that they'd not seen him kick a ball on grass, and they must have thought, well, he looks pretty good on the AstroTurf, you know.
Of course, our younger listeners might be thinking, well, why don't you just check his YouTube highlights? But of course, this was a time when it was actually quite difficult to see highlights of a player unless you had a video recording or some highlights of a previous game. It's not like these days where you can just Google it. So teams had to do a bit more research. There's a bit of pushing and shoving now.
Oh, that's stupid from Veltman.
Oh, it is. I mean, it's been given as a free kick to Brighton. Now, a Bournemouth player tried to hold on to the ball for a second to delay it. Then Veltman's crashed into him. It was actually Rutel who was brought down initially for the free kick that Peter Banks has given. But one thing's for certain, ever since that Bournemouth goal, Brighton have had one quick counter with the ball into Welbeck, and that's it.
Yeah, that's the lot. Looks like Newcastle might have scored. There's not been too much shout about it.
Tough old start to the season for Wolves, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. And they just they lost a few pivotal players, didn't they, in the summer? Anyway, ball into the box here for Brighton. Welbeck's able to recycle it. He goes backwards. Now a chance for Karioglu. Finds a Ruta at the edge of the area, but he's got a man coming in from behind. Nobody told him. Where was that shout of man on? Well, he didn't receive it there. And in the end, Tavernier it was who will always chase back for his team. The referee's showing a yellow card here. I don't know who did what to who, but Lewis Dunk looks unhappy. And there's Evan Nielsen, who for the second time today finds himself rolling around on the ground.
Let's have a look. Evan Nielsen's running after this ball. Dunk's chasing him. I mean, it's not a fair race. Evan Nielsen's going to always win that if it's just a foot race. The ball's there to be won, but it's... When you're running back at that sort of...
Did he get upsides him, though? I think he did. I think that's harsh.
I think he's got the ball there.
Yeah, I think it's really harsh.
As I say, that doesn't always seem to be enough these days. If you if you take too much of the man at the same time, even if you're winning the ball, the referee won't be happy. But confirmation then that Newcastle have taken the lead against Wolves, and it's their new signing, the big German Nick Woltemade, that's got the goal.
Do you know what? Honestly, I've seen Woltemade a couple of times now, and I think he's the bee's knee. He's going to be the next big thing. You know...
him and Little Visser as a double act potentially.
Yeah, maybe, but he's a smashing player, I think. Anyway, ball breaks into the middle of the park. Ruta can't get there, and again, two fares on it. He's had a good game, the number 3, and bombing on. They're waiting for the ball out wide. There's Senetsi playing as sort of left back there, but the ball's going to break instead the other way for Yakuba Minta over the halfway line. That's a strong challenge from Brooks. If the other one was a yellow card, that is.
It is.
And so it is. That was worse in actual fact, because Brooks never got alongside him there.
No, he didn't. There was never any argument that he got any of the ball. He was always sliding. Yeah, I mean, he's sliding in from behind, and there's not even a suggestion that he got anywhere near the ball there. So it's a really poor challenge that from David Brooks, and absolute nailed on the yellow card for him there. Just to tell you very quickly, in the game between Fulham and Leeds, it is still goalless. But just looking at the stats from that game, I feel for our commentators who are watching it, because Fulham haven't had a shot at all. Leeds have had 2 efforts, one of which has been on target, so it's a bit threadbare in that game at Craven Cottage so far.
Yeah, well, interesting that. But anyway, Van Ecke now driving forward. Brighton looking to get back in. Great stuff from Ruta again. Lovely. Macy dribble from him. Lays the ball back from Inter. Can he get a shot away? No, he can't. His shot then deflected. Welbeck again. Recycles the ball, lays it back. Karioglu chops one out to his left-hand side. And again, Welbeck will just go fetched out, try and create something down the left. Welbeck again, looking for options, forced to go backwards. But we've seen some good play today. It's a really high standard, this game. Quality players out there, interesting, good systems. You know, I think for Bournemouth, it's not exactly a counter attack, is it? Because they throw bodies forward and they get them back. It's high energy what they're playing, but it's sort of mixed. It's a mixed style, really. You know, for Brighton, they would like to have their centre backs a bit further up, but they're worried about the pace, so they're playing a little bit deeper than normally we might expect, and which is making the game really open, I think.
Well, it is, but I mean, the stats, as I say, it's not exactly been a barnstorming from Bournemouth in terms of attacks, but they've had 3 efforts, one of which has been on target, which has found the net, of course. But Brighton, after 33 minutes, haven't had a shot on goal of any description, on or off target. So they've got to try and address that here, the visitors, because it seems for now like Bournemouth have their number, and Brighton having to sort of start their play deeper and deeper.
Yeah, Brighton and Ruta looks like he's on his game today. Welbeck's just beginning to join in and pop the ball about. Mitoma's got the pace to take on Hill. And we just saw Minter upended by Brooks as Brighton now gets to the byline left-hand side. The ball laid back. Maybe a chance. Karioglu has got a cut. He buys himself some time. He's held up. Gets the ball away, working it down the left-hand side, back to Karioglu. This time he's going to drive forward, looking for a give and go. The ball doesn't go back to him, though. And eventually, it's good defending by Hill, just stood his ground. Ball chipped down the flank. Evan Nielsen second best to it, but Dunk just able to prod it forward, and the Seagulls keep hold of the ball. Back to Veltman, who's got his goalkeeper, and he can use him, and he does for Bruggen on the ball. At one point I thought he'd be the goalkeeper off to Manchester United, who I've got to confess, I'm baffled by what they've done. They've brought in a kid who he's only a youngster, and they can't really put in.
No, they've got rid of on paper their first choice keeper in Onana, although it looked like he really wasn't fancied by Amorim at all. Now they're going to let Bayindir become their first choice. There's Lemons that they've signed is going to be on their bench. And of course they almost signed Emi Martinez on the last day of the transfer window, but they couldn't, as Bournemouth were on the attack. There was a ball played into the box. There was a strong challenge there from Veltman. No foul, says the referee, and there's a Bournemouth player still down in the box.
Yeah, Brooks still down there. He's looking for the half turn in the box. It looked a good challenge, as a strong challenge in the middle of the park. And Marco Senesi, can't believe that's been given, but he seemed to go right through the back of Rutte. I don't want to see that. I want to see the penalty shout. VAR. He's not going to intervene now, or so we're told. But if it's a penalty, if Brooks was chopped down in his prime there, then we need to see that. And we'd like to get a look at that anyway. For Senesi, undoubtedly he went through the back of Rutte, and it's a foul. And he gets a yellow card for that, but he might just be for arguing that.
Well, it might be, but I say the referee Peter Banks has sort of kept his cards in for the first 15-20 minutes, but since then he's given out 3 now, with Lewis Dunk, David Brooks, and now Marcos Senesi all picking up bookings. Now, as we're going to see, this Bournemouth chance here was a bouncing ball over the top, which gave a chance here for the ball to be played into the box. As Brooks breaks in, there's no penalty there, but Brooks certainly looks like he was hurt there by Veltman, and if anything,
he definitely got hurt because they're going for the same ball, and he gets caught by the underside of the studs. Then Veltman stands over him like, you're cheating. Well, he wasn't cheating. He got caught, but it's in a 50-50. So yeah, good decision. That's Semenyo now here. He puts pace to the game. He's taking Kadioglu into the box. Can he get his shot away? Yes, he can. It's a good block, that, I think. Or did he put it over? They just put him under enough pressure that he couldn't quite wrap his right boot round.
It looks like he's gone for that sort of smash with the outside of the boot, and he's just ended up sort of skying that one wide, because it looked to me like it was always going to get some kind of deflection, always going to force the save out the keeper. But yeah, good work that is from Kadioglu, as you say, coming back and forcing him into sort of going for that tight angle, and in the end he gets a long way. It's a long way wide.
Yeah, I think he started to hit it wide of the blockers, and in doing that he's hit it wide of the goal frame. This game going end to end, I'm really enjoying it. Bournemouth fans enjoying it a little bit more because they've got the lead as Brooks picks the ball up now. But there's a lot of quality on show. Teams unfettered by tactics. They seem to both be given an opportunity to go for blood and showcase their talents, really, which is all that we want to see as neutrals, as football fans. As the ball then with Donkey chops it back to Verbruggen. Like I said, it would have made sense for him to be on his way to Man United or Martinez, and they've ended up with Lemons, who's only a youngster and not quite good enough. Bayindir, who doesn't come from across, he's going to be playing in the Derby game. I'm looking forward to that on Sunday. And then the other thought is that Man City have got 2 big goalkeepers who are not good at playing the ball off the deck, which is something that they used to be really good at.
Yeah, and it does still beg the question, what on earth was wrong with their previous first choice keeper? Nothing's wrong with Ederson. I mean, is Ederson really that bad that you would risk bringing in a sort of less experienced Trafford or a never played in the Premier League Donnarumma, who everyone says is a brilliant shot stopper but has never been that good with his feet? I mean, over the last few weeks they've had all the European football experts on the various podcasts and radio shows saying how good Donnarumma is, but he's not that good with his feet. So why would City be that keen on having him? It's a strange one. It's almost like they're sort of trying to... I mean, I do believe Donnarumma is one of the best keepers in the world, but whether or not it was worth getting rid of Ederson and bringing in Trafford as well, it just seems like a lot of work to get someone who's only a little bit better than what you've got already.
Yeah, it's baffling, isn't it? I think Ederson just wanted to go. I think he wanted to do something different. I think it's almost like he's going on holiday to Turkey with his family. They could have gone to Saudi and done all sorts of things. But anyway, that's intriguing. This game's intriguing. It's going to be throw for Truffert, who's made a good start to life.
Been
on
impressed
the South
with him.
Coast.
I mean, I've done a few Bournemouth games this season, but it's the first time I've seen Truffert play from the start, and he's looked good.
Yeah, he has. Got a good engine on him. As Brooks again, ball back on his inside. It just going to break kindly there for Tavernier, and then they're playing it down the right hand side. Little step inside there from Tyler Adams, and then the ball launched forward, not with a great deal of quality. It's got to be said this time they've given it away. Brighton have seen plenty enough of the ball, and again, Ruta just a little touch back. He is showing a lot of quality on the ball. He goes to help in, then he puts a ball over the top for Minter. It's a brilliant ball from Ruta. Can he get his shot away? And I'm not sure the keeper needs to make a save there. He was just being careful. He's near post there, Petrovic, but that was a brilliant ball. I was just about to say Ruta's coming too deep for me when he's got the ability to beat a man. But what a ball from him.
What a ball. Perfectly timed run as well from Minter. No offside. And as you say, Petrovic is probably could easily let that hit the side netting. I don't think that's going anywhere near the goal, really, looking at that replay. But as I say, he's near that. He's by that near post. Wants to be sure that he makes a save there, so he puts it out for a corner. And finally, a shot on goal from Brighton, and it's actually the first corner kick of the game.
Yeah, Milner will take it. Good covering across from Milislav Vjevic as well. As Minter was trying to run free, but he never quite let him a free run. The corner kick comes in, it bounces in the box, through the box, padded back in. Little flick on here, an opportunity, and as cool as you like. I think that's Scott with a header back to his keeper. And I think little things in the Premier League. It's taken a long time for Scott to bed in, but he's looking the real deal, isn't he? And you've got to give him great credit there. But anyway, Minter wins the ball high up the field, but Zanetsi is making up for his mistake, and he does that well. They're trying to play their way out of trouble. Too fair, it's not a good ball from him, but eventually the ball bounces off Milner and out for a goal kick. Yeah,
good covering in the end there to make sure that ball was cleared. It was Zanetti's mistake, as you said initially, to give the ball away. But no, this is, from Brighton's point of view, they've responded a little bit now after that. But going back to the point about Alex Scott, when you think that over the last couple of games for England, Jordan Henderson's had a recall. I mean, he's very much a veteran now, isn't he, in terms of England's call-ups. So on that basis, you would say that Scott's got to feature certainly in the sort of periphery of what Thomas Tuchel might be looking at.
I think he's just a good player. You want your team full of good players, but they can't all be number 10s, can they? And so he's got to learn other skills.
He does, yeah. I think he does, yeah, absolutely. I've always said as well, I always think it's such a waste of Jack Grealish's talent that he was forced into being the sort of right-footed left winger or left forward at Man City, when I always think he was better in going through the middle anyway. Whether or not he ends up having any time for Everton doing that remains to be seen, but of course he's made a very good start for them. It's been a very quiet afternoon in the Premier League. Goalless at Selhurst Park between Palace and Sunderland. Goalless at the Hill Dickinson Stadium now between Everton and Villa, and it is still goalless between Fulham and Leeds as well. So no goals in those other games. Still 1-0 to Newcastle against Wolves, and it's still 1-0 to Bournemouth in this game against Brighton.
Yeah, I thought this game would be a draw. I thought Newcastle would win, Arsenal would win today. I think Fulham will win. Other than that, I'm pretty much seeing a sea of draws. I always say in the Championship as well, Perm 5 draws out of the afternoon games. They had the first 3 games were draws, weren't they? So
they were, yes.
You made a good start there if you're doing that. Anyway,
there won't be a draw at Hillsborough because Sheffield Wednesday already 3-0 down at home to Bristol City.
I tell you what, you would leave them out. Those teams who just stink, who rank bad, you've got to leave out your equations, don't you? Anyway, bit of head tennis going on. Adams wins it, and then there's all hell breaks loose, but Tavernier doesn't win the day. The ball just breaks kindly for Jode Petrovic, who hasn't had a right lot to do, has he? To be honest with you, it's
the first shot he had to save was that one he put out for a corner a couple of minutes ago.
And then I'm not even sure he needed to save that. Was he at Strasbourg or something last season? He played pretty well, didn't he? There were a whole host of clubs interested, and he didn't do that well in the few games I saw him play for Chelsea, though. I thought that he was one of those players for me that just seemed like didn't surprise me at all. Obviously he is a good keeper, but Chelsea went through a few of them last season, didn't they? Robert Sanchez for me isn't the first 11 Chelsea goalkeeper. The guy Jorgensen that's on their bench at the moment, he looks a little bit suspect as well. The funny thing was that last season their best goalkeeper was playing at Bournemouth, wasn't he?
Kepa, yeah. And now he's at Arsenal as their second choice.
Yeah, which is weird, isn't it?
Let's say in the same way that we were saying in this game, it's strange how Brighton haven't gone out to sort of fix their right back problem. It is fascinating for me that Chelsea have spent hundreds of millions on players, and yet why weren't they fighting for Donnarumma?
They
could afford him, and you think that. I mean, Sanchez was dropped by Brighton before he was signed by Chelsea anyway. But yeah, it's strange how these things go. But here comes Minte now. He's really trying to force something started here for Brighton. He goes down. The referee thinks about it and decides that there was a foul there from Alex Scott.
I think there were several fouls there, but in the end, the referee wanted play to go on, and fair dues. But he under pressure there on the ball. Minte. Scott just nipping at his heels a little bit. Essentially, he's unlucky. I think maybe Minter's overrun the ball there, but equally, you could argue he sort of got hauled away from it. But you're fighting for the ball. It's a contact sport. Sometimes you let that contact happen, don't you? But no according to Peter Banks anyway. It's still Bournemouth 1, Brighton and Hove Albion 0. I think we're just seeing, even though the sun's shining, they're either glaring off the floodlights or they put the floodlights on. But it only gets dark at 7:30. I think they might be a bit early with that. Anyway, the ball from Milner floated into the box. It's headed away by the first man, and should be just volleyed it clear. Eventually, ball goes back to Truffert. Just put his left boot through the ball, headed back where it came from. The board had been put up, but 4 minutes of added time. We've had a few stoppages, haven't we? Particularly dead early. Injury to Jack Inchwood. We were, a minute into the game?
Less than that even. I think it was literally in the first 30 seconds of that injury stopped play. Then we had another injury, of course, with De Kuyper crashing into the advertising boards. He then sat down and had to go off towards around about the 32-minute mark, I think it was. But overall, it's been a sort of stop-start game, really. But Brighton will be frustrated because they were making the better strides, I thought, before Bournemouth took the lead.
Yeah, I don't really. I can't argue with that. And Ruta looks like he's on his game today. He looks like a difference maker. Minter's shown up as well. Mitoma's got pace about him, so everything seems to be working. Welbeck joining in. There's no reason why these lads can't score. They don't look like they're going to be kept at bay necessarily. But for Bournemouth, they defend well. They defend in numbers. They're well organised. They make they made a big deal out of getting Iraola, didn't they? And quite rightly.
Yeah, and I remember when he first arrived, there was talk that this is a mistake, and I actually remember the Bournemouth chairman, American gentleman, coming on the radio saying that I take responsibility for this. If this goes wrong and we ended up in the Championship, then it's my fault. But I genuinely think that this manager is going to get us playing better and improve. And it took a few months for that to happen, but you have to say that the chairman was right in what he'd done now. Yeah,
exactly. And so now Scott's on the ball, little dribble from him. He's grown his stature just off this game. I think he's one of those. He just needs to put a solid load of work down in the Premier League, good work, and then settle into it. I don't know about him, his personality or what he's like, but I just get that feeling that some players have that imposter syndrome. Do I really belong? Am I really good enough? And he's got to believe he is. Anyway, after his great goal today, that'll go taking him a stage further. Here is Scott on the ball in the middle of the park. A good ball out to the left-hand side, an opportunity then. Little step inside from Brooks. Veltman stays with him. Finds Scott. Little dribble at the edge of the area. Oh, brilliant from him. Finds Truffert. Gets the ball across. The header comes in, but it's cushioned right to the hands of Bruggen. And again, problems at right back. The ball's coming from the left-hand side for Bournemouth too easy. Veltman got dragged across there. I don't think he's happy being last man out on the flank.
Well, he's fighting a losing battle. I mean, Brooks or Truffert would fancy themselves against Veltman anyway, but when it's been the two of them linking up, as Brighton lose the ball, here come Bournemouth again.
They do. Van Ilsen drives into the box. The ball gets caught in the feet of Dunk, who's defending, and scrapes the ball away. Referee happy to let play go on there. Was there a foul at the edge of the area? Adams goes down, and then he chops a man down. That's because he didn't get the free kick, and now he's going to get a yellow card.
He's convinced that he should have had a free kick seconds earlier. Peter Banks hasn't got his yellow card out for him yet.
It should be, because if he didn't think he was fouled, well, we certainly know that when Adams got up, he absolutely chopped his man down. It should be a yellow card. And that's out of the frustration, the one that he didn't get.
Yeah, I mean, as I say, two wrongs don't make a right, and I think the referee, considering what he has given yellow cards out for in this game, that would have warranted one for sure, but it looks like Adams has got away with it.
Oh yeah, so if you're frustrated by a decision, then you can chop somebody down. That's the message there. Great defending there by Dunk before that. Evan Nielsen's cut, it wasn't quite good enough, but You know, when he's backpedaling there, Dunk, it takes a lot of doing that, and he did it pretty well. Anyway, Bournemouth 1, Brighton and Hove Albion 0. We're nearly at the end of the first half. There's a great ball forward to Welbeck. Can he flick it forward? He takes the ball on. Just skips round his marker, finds Yakuba Minte now. Cross comes in easily, blocked by Tyler. Maybe it was aimed at Mitoma. Anyway, referee's seen enough. There we go, half time. It is Bournemouth 1, Brighton 0.